G'day guys, and welcome back to the Ugly Investor. Another installment where I'm trying to give back. Today I want to talk to you in a bit more detail around really how to save the first $1,000 or how to get $1,000 as part of the 5 steps to success over the long term. Remembering, of course, that I don't know what your life circumstances are or what life has put in your way as obstacles in order to get to your end result. But regardless of that, if you follow the 5 steps, you will see long-term success. I just wanted to go into a little bit more detail around step 1, which is how to get $1,000 into your bank account as an emergency fund. Now, we talked about the implications of what having $1,000 actually does for you. Life happens. So if something was to go wrong, like the fridge breaking down, you've got that $1,000 to sort it out. If the car breaks down on the way to work, you don't have to worry about getting into debt in order to solve the car issue. You can just draw upon the $1,000 and then move on with life. Now, having said that, let's have a look at 6 simple steps you can use today in order to help you get your $1,000 into that bank account. Step number 1 is set up a budget. Now, I don't know if you're a religious person or not, but the idea of budgeting has been around for a very long time, to the point where it is actually recorded in the Bible. Here are 2 verses to take a look at. The first one is in Luke chapter 14. Suppose one of you wants to build a tower. Won't you first sit down and estimate the cost to see if you have enough money to complete it? For if you lay the foundation and are unable to finish, everyone who sees it will ridicule you, saying, "This person began to build and was unable to finish." The second verse comes from Corinthians chapter 16. On the first day of every week, each one of you should set aside a sum of money in keeping with your income, saving it up so that when I come, no collections will have to be made. They are trying to tell us with these verses that budgeting means that you have already allocated the spendings of money in a given period of time. Typically, you want to have a budget reoccurring every pay cycle. So whenever you receive an income, you know where that income is going to be going. There are no surprises with a budget. Additional to that, the Bible also indicates that you should be putting a portion of your budgeted amount into a savings account for a rainy day. Now let's take a look at the second point. Eating at home. It's quite amazing. Once you understand that we spend a lot on food. Now, I actually had no idea what the average person spends on food. However, take a look at this. The average American household spends about $3,000 a year in dining out, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Another study has shown that eating out costs 5 times more than what it would otherwise cost to prepare the meal at home. When I dug into that a little bit further, I actually found this on a Forbes website where there was a study done to indicate the costs of a restaurant meal versus a pre-made meal kit or home cooking. And as you can see here, the restaurant or heading out per person on average costs $20.37 versus a meal prep kit, which is $12.53, and the cheapest option, eating at home, for $4.31. So this is one of the biggest changes that we can make in our lifestyle right now that can help see us to get $1,000 in an emergency fund. If you're like me and enjoy eating out from time to time, all we need to do is reduce our eating out by about a third. The average person, according to the studies, eats out about 4 times per week. If you can reduce that to 2 times per week, you will save approximately $1,000 in spendings. This is massive because the reality is that if you have the discipline in order to make home-cooked meals instead of eating out, you can save big dollars over the long term. Let's take a look at step number 3. Sell some items. Most of us hoard equipment at home. I mean, it's very hard to have a minimalistic lifestyle. But when you're in a situation where you can't afford up to a $1,000 emergency, it is important in order to turn that around. And so I encourage you to do things like look through all of your items. And if there's something that hasn't been used in the last 6 to 12 months, you should consider flipping it for a small amount of money. It's very easy to flip things like clothes or books. There are plenty of services out there such as Facebook Marketplace, Amazon, eBay, etc. If you have enough items lying around the house that aren't being used, then you can flip those or sell those items in order to bring your cash up to get that $1,000 emergency fund and get a little bit of breathing room in your life. Step number 4 is shopping smarter. What does it mean to shop smarter? A great example would be putting a list together before heading out to the supermarket. That way, when you get to the supermarket, you know exactly what items you need to purchase. You're not wasting your time trying to search for things, and you're not influenced by potential sales of other items around that you think are a good deal at the time. But since you don't need them, it's just an extra expense on your existing shopping. Another great way is called catalog shopping. It's quite an old process, but the idea behind it in modern age is to look at what there is bargain-wise. If you're going to purchase something anyway, shop around. Get something that's on discount or on sale. Save yourself some money. Quite often, when you're looking at things like food, there are a lot of discounts in your grocery store from 15% up to 50%. If you're willing to substitute one item for another one, then you can see yourself saving a considerable amount of money off your bill. The average bill that could be saved for a standard 2-person living situation in a home could be anywhere from $20 to $35 in a standard shopping bill. This adds up over time and can help you towards your $1,000 target. Step number 5, negotiate on your bills. Now, negotiating on bills might seem a little tricky. It could be very, very difficult for a few people to make those phone calls. But the reality is that you haven't lost anything by trying. If you don't ask, you are in the same position that you are before the situation even occurred. A really good technique, for example, is to shop around for, let's say, an electricity provider and find somebody that's cheaper. If you call up your existing provider and mention that there is a competitor that is doing it at a different rate that is cheaper or more beneficial, and then play the card of loyal customer, you can have a conversation that allows you to get a discount on your existing energy rates. Now, if they're unwilling to negotiate with you on your existing situations, there is no reason why you still can't shop around and make the switch to those companies. A really good example of keeping on track of your bills is insurance. Quite often, insurance companies actually add a small amount to the total value of whatever it is that they're insuring. A really good example is property. If you own a home and have insurance on that home, your insurance agent will actually increase per year the value of the home and therefore increase the insurance costs to you per year. You can call the insurance companies up and downgrade the value of the place, specifically in a downturn market like what we have now, and you can save yourself hundreds of dollars per year. Another option is to get a broker involved. A broker gets paid by securing a deal. They're more inclined to help you get a better rate on your insurances across the board. They might also help you get better policies or even upgrades for no additional cost. Step number 6, remove subscriptions. Now this one people might not like, but the reality is that we're moving towards a subscription-based world. Things like Netflix, Amazon Prime are great examples. You also have gaming subscriptions. Instead of purchasing items outright, now a lot of companies are trying to get you on a subscription basis. We need to remove as many subscriptions from our lives as possible. There are alternatives. If you can remove the subscriptions of Disney Plus, Netflix, or any other TV-based subscription and move towards free TV, like what we used to do 10 years ago, you would save yourself hundreds of dollars over the course of a year. Now, this is just one example. You can do things like changing the video games that you play if you're into those things. Playing games that you pay for the game outright and upgrades come free of charge over the course of the life of the game. What I'm asking you to do in this step of removing subscriptions is really just take a hard look at all the subscription services that you have right now. If there's anything that you don't use frequently or you could do without, if you get rid of it, it will greatly impact your cash flow situation. I hope this has given you a few ideas on how you might be able to fast track that $1,000 towards your emergency funds. If you have any other ideas, don't forget to comment down below and I'll respond to it. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks, guys.